Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to IFJ and NFJ and to the Guardian's friends for inviting me at this meeting. I apologize for intervening only on video. I would have loved to share our experiences directly, but I am committed to the Senate's work in Rome. Even last night, in front of the Committee on Industry that I chair, we heard the Government Commissioner Piero Nudi reporting on the crisis of Ilva Steel Group. Since January 2013, I don't write for Corriere della Sera to avoid a conflict of interest with my new role as a Senator of the Italian Republic. But I was, and I still am, a journalist. And to this job, I'll come back at the end of the legislature. So let's get to the point. It happened that I've been spied from Telecom Italia Security Division towards the end of 2004. A few months before, I was hired by Corriere della Sera as a deputy editor to run the economic desk. At the time of my appointment in Corriere on the December 203, Marco Tronchetti Provera, one of the newspaper's major shareholders and a key shareholder of Telecom Italia at the time, strongly opposed it because of my critical analysis on his operations and because of my book Licenziare I Padroni, Fire the Bosses, referring to those businessmen who destroyed the shareholders' value. Tronchetti asked to stop the whole thing. But the former president of the publishing company, Cesare Romiti, who many years before had been Fiat #1, told him that it was already done. I realized I was being spied by pure chance. On November the 4th, 2004, I received an help desk email inviting me to download an attachment to reset my account. I called the help desk and told them, "You know that I don't understand anything of these wizardries. Why don't you arrange it by yourself as usual?" They answered, "Don't do anything. We will." The evening after, the publishing company's Chief Executive Officer Vittorio Colao, today is in Vodafone, came to visit me in my office. He took a piece of paper on my table and wrote, "Let's go out, I need to talk to you privately." 5 minutes later, we ended at the corner between Via Solferino, where Corriere is located in the heart of Milan, and Via Moscova, where the Carabinieri headquarters is based. Colao had left the palace with helmet and scooter. I walked. He told me, "Last night, Corriere della Sera suffered a cyber attack. Somebody tried to enter your computer, mine and those of mine subordinates. I should not tell you this thing. Because we will report it to Cybercrime Police Unit, and investigations require secrecy to not alert intruders. But I am sure," told me Colao, "you will keep the secret." And on the other end, a similar attack toward a single journalist among a lot of journalists at Corriere is a very serious thing. "Who do you think it was?" asked me finally Colao. "Given the reaction of Mr. Tronchetti to my hiring, I suspect Telephone," was my answer. I kept the secret until, in the spring of 2006, first rumors on deviations of rules in Telecom Italia Security Division began to filter out from Milan prosecutors. At that point, I asked Colao to relieve me from my confidential duties because I wanted to go personally to the prosecutor, given that he never heard me within 2 years. Colao accepted. I presented it compliant against unknown person. And in the meanwhile, I investigated during my spare time. In few weeks, I found out that the cyber attack came from telecom offices in Rome. I even managed to approach the head of Telecom's hackers, Fabio Ghioni, and the former boss of the security division, Giuliano Tavaroli, who had just resigned from Telecom. In September, the investigation took off with a lot of arrests, including those of Tavaroli and Ghioni. It came out that Telecom used to conduct internal profiling activities and invasive investigations on politicians such as Romano Prodi, at the time President of the European Commission, businessmen as Carlo De Benedetti, bankers as Alberto Albertini, Telecom and Pirelli auditors such as Rosalba Casiraghi, and even the Italian antitrust authority. But the prosecutors were especially attracted by the illegal support of Telecom Italia Security to the Italian Secret Service, who cooperated with the CIA in order to kidnap the supposed Arab extremist Abu Omar. The investigations pointed out that Telecom had not only tried to get into my mail because of my phone call to Corriere Help Desk, but they also tailed me for several days in Milan, on train fares from Milan to Brescia, and on my flights to Rome, and that they even tried to put close to me a blonde girl with a body dialogue vocation, as reported in the investigators' minutes. Telecom tried to trace my sources and to find any footprint of irregular payments, corruptions, shameful habits, in order to keep my mouth closed, shut. They didn't find anything because there was nothing to find. The process ended on February the 13th, 213. Tavaroli and Ghioni negotiated a plea bargain, and also Telecom and Pirelli. As a physical person, Tronchetti Provera had no problems instead. In fact, while acknowledging that espionage had been made in the interest of the company and its leaders, the Court of Assize cannot find a smoking gun that showed a direct responsibility of Tronchetti. This is the fact. 4 short considerations. Number 1. Between November 2004 and February 2013, too much time passed for justice to be done. I respect the prosecutor's work, but I must say that since its beginning, the investigation tended to circumscribe the story as an attempt of a group of disloyal employees, namely the security division of Telecom, to steal money from the company for unusual investigations without any form of control. In my opinion, a brave investigative journalist, having the same powers of prosecutors, would have done more. Number 2. Telecom has never brought civil actions in the criminal proceeding against all managers, despite the fact that an internal investigation made by Deloitte, ordered by the former Chief Executive Officer Franco Bernabé, had already put all the premises on plate. The main shareholders, I mean Mediobanca, Intesa Sanpaolo, Telefonica and Generali, preferred to let it go. Italian realism or rule of silence? Bah. Number 3. The publishing company I worked for has never offered me a lawyer. And this is really bad. But when a shareholder asked to fire me because I wrote Corriere della Sera shareholders' history until last episode in the book Corriere's Bug, that shareholder was silenced by others. And this is good. Italy has almost always 2 sides. Number 4. The investigation about a cybercrime presents complications. In our case, thanks to affidavit and reactions rapidity, it could be possible to track telecom, despite the fact that the server from which the cyber attack started was based in South Korea. In other cases, investigators might not be able to establish exactly the crime's source, chasing the servers all around the world, and so they risk the voidness of their acts by conflicts of jurisdictions. To just settle the prosecutions in the place of the injured party or in the place of the offenders seems to be a fragile legal basis. Law is in search of its new frontiers. Even in Germany, the telecommunication incumbent Deutsche Telekom spied people. Maybe these facts, Italian and German facts, are not so important. Other stories worry the world. There is a big problem for freedom in industry information. But the new laws to protect freedom of information will depend on the way that cultural society, information industry itself, and politicians will address these issues. This will be also a new job for journalists. Thank you.